I'm Andy Pilgrim with Automobile. Welcome to another edition of Pro Racers Take. On this edition, at a very cold but sunny NCM Motorsports Park, I have a 2020 Porsche 718 Cayman GT4, and I am very much looking forward to thrashing this one around the track. As is usual with the 911 Cayman Boxster sort of family, we have a pretty nice size frunk here. It's about 5 cubic feet of storage, very large, quite deep. I mean, that is a pretty deep. My hand is now down in the bottom, and it's extraordinarily useful. But that's not the only part of a Cayman storage. I particularly like what Porsche has done with the front of the new GT4. The Caymans are differentiated from the 911s in my humble opinion, so they look different, but this new fascia, the way that they've sculpted it there, and the splitter is quite a bit bigger than the previous generation and does help increase the downforce. Before I talk some more about practicality, I want to talk about these areas at the back to do with aerodynamics. We have the front splitter, which is bigger, produces a little bit more downforce than the last generation car. We have a fixed wing here, along with the spoiler lip and the new diffuser in the back. Between these three elements and the front, this new GT4 produces about 150 pounds of downforce at 124 miles an hour. That's significant, and it's about the same as the last generation GT3, so something to look forward to on the track for sure. Let's look inside the trunk. So as you can see, it's not just about the frunk and the up front storage in the GT4. There is solid room in the back, good storage here. You can probably got room for a couple of soft golf bags in here, and there's a couple of covered storage pockets in the sides. I mean, all in all, it makes it a great touring car. The Cayman is a mid-engine car, but unlike many mid-engine cars, we don't have a view of an engine under here. We have the very usable storage compartment. But underneath here, we have a 4-litre normally aspirated flat 6 engine. Some people have sort of thought that it might be the old GT3 engine, but it is not the old GT3 engine. This is an all-new engine, and it's more akin to actually the 992 engine. Well, you might think, well, that's a 3-litre engine with a turbo. True. This is the same basic engine, and they've re-sleeved it. Different stroke in this engine, obviously no turbocharger, but it is essentially more akin to the 992 engine, 4-litre, 414 horsepower and 309 pounds-feet of torque. It is a flyer, and it sounds really good, as you're going to see in a bit. As you can tell, the hat wasn't quite enough today, so I put the heavier jacket on. They actually used to call me Grandma on the Corvette race team for good reason. I was always wearing a jacket, and I was always cold. Okay, let's get back to the GT4. PCCB brake option with this car. That is the carbon ceramic brake option with 410mm rotors up front with the 6-piston calipers and 390mm rotors on the back with the 4-piston calipers. And I can tell you from the little bit of work I've already done on track, these things really work on this car. And helping to make the most of the brakes on track are the nice and sticky Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2 tires. 245 35x20s up front and the 295 30x20s in the rear. On the performance side of the interior, we have the perfect steering wheel. Why? Because it has nothing on it to distract the driver, no buttons at all. Well, except the horn button. It's perfect. Still have the left side ignition key for this, which is kind of a throwback now, considering the 992 doesn't have that. Has a fixed key on the left side, but I like the separate key. I'm still a bit of a throwback myself, I suppose. Manual gearbox is fantastic. Feels very similar to the gearbox you can get on the GT3s. Superb. And we have the optional sport bucket seats, which hold you in brilliantly on the racetrack. Very comfortable on the road, but kind of difficult to get into sometimes, but they're still brilliant. Good seats. As far as the driver usability side, you've got the familiar buttons and switches and a smaller infotainment system here. All the normal stuff. Coming down a bit on the center console, you have the driver fun stuff. The sport exhaust, the auto blip, the shocks, the stability traction on and off, all the stuff you'll go for like as if you're going on track or having some fun driving. One of the things that's always a big deal for me with the Cayman is the fact that it's a mid-engine vehicle, but you have a pass-through storage area, so you have quite a lot of room, and it's nice and accessible for passengers. If you're on a trip or something, they can grab the stuff from the back without having to get out of the car, which I think is very useful. I'm going to wobble down to the pit lane to get ready for the hot lap, but first of all, I think we should listen to the exhaust system in here. It should sound pretty good. So that's the startup. Sport exhaust. Oh, here you go. Oh, that sounds really good. Flat six. I can see why people go for the flat six, right? Sounds really good. As we do sometimes, I wanted to take the GT4 down the long NCM Motorsports box straightaway. It's like way more than a half mile, and I just like to see these cars run faster than they normally can on these road courses. I was thinking to do over 150, yes, 157 before I completely chickened out to get on the brakes. I didn't really need to, could have gone further than that. Now we want to do a 0 to 60 time and a quarter mile time. Put some telemetry on it. Good launch. 0 to 60, 3.903. Very nice. Quarter mile. 11.967. Good stuff. And now let's go do the hot lap. Here we go. Coming onto the straightaway. Brakes are so good on this car. It is so planted. And the carbon ceramic option brakes. There you go. See the front go down on that? Superb. Might look like I'm hanging on to the gear lever. There's no strain on the gear lever. Why? Because these seats are so good. They hold you in so well. And it's just really, I just want to be ready for the next shift. So I kind of place it there. Coming up to turn 5, one of my absolute favorite turns on the track. Oh, that's really good. Anything sustained 100 plus, fantastic. The 150 pounds of downforce definitely plays a part in that turn. Solid turn there. A little bit of curb. You can easily use that curb. Nice transition here. The thing, well, you saw it slide around a little bit there, but the thing with the GT4 is it doesn't snap. It lets you know it's losing grip a little bit, and you can catch it with the hands as long as you're reasonably quick, but it's not snappy, which is going to make this a really fun car in anyone's hands, really. This transition at Deception and 13 is fun at any speed, but at this speed it's crazy. 108 on the exit there. This engine going to 8,000 RPM sounds awesome. Flip through here around 130, 132, 3 miles an hour. Good grip, good grip. Just popped 100 before turn 17. Turned into 17, very nice. Almost 80 over on the top. Tires are doing great. Gear shift is just so nice on this car as well. See again, it's twitched a little bit at the bottom, but I can easily catch it, and then the steady state through here. And then it's all about getting the run out onto the straightaway for the GT4. Wow, it's sustained over a G right up to the wall. That's actually a little bit scary. And we go. Oh, 213.12. That's exceptionally good. That puts it right up there actually with the GT350R Mustang, well, maybe a little bit faster. It's great stuff. I just got off track with the new GT4, and as you might expect, it set a brilliant lap time. But it really doesn't matter which Cayman you pick out. Most people would agree it's going to be right up there with one of the best handling cars in its class. But the new GT4, with more power, better handling, and more aerodynamics, it has raised the game in the sports car world to a whole new level. This is one fantastic driver's car.